Hello, everybody. Andy Jacob here with the .com Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. I'm really happy to have this show on the air today because, wow, you can't open up your laptop, you can't get on your phone, you can't read an old-fashioned newspaper for the people that remember newspapers without learning about identity theft, people stealing each other's identities and what's going on in the identity space. And when we talk about it and we think about it, I mean, you have one identity. And when you're online and you're doing all this work online, whether you're doing actual business online or you're enjoying yourself online or you're going to dating apps or you're doing apps for any reason, it's so important to make sure that you protect your identity. I mean, we know from all the stories, there's identity theft going on left and right. I mean, there's breaches going on everywhere. And we brought on the show today a wonderful entrepreneur. Her name is Kelley Cahill, and she's the founder and CEO of YOORZ ID. And she has a very interesting approach to self-identity verification. Her business is really interesting. We're so excited to have her on the show. She's become an expert in this field because of a very unfortunate and unusual experience she had in her life, and she turned a negative into a positive, and here she is, the founder and CEO of YOORZ ID. Kelley, welcome to the .com Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Hi, Andy, and thank you so much. I really, really appreciate this opportunity to let people know what we finally have out there to protect them.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Protection is so important. Identification protection is so important. Before we get started, we have so many questions, and we had a pre-interview, and my mind was just blown away about how deep you go into this and how much knowledge you have. Let's pull the lens back to 30,000 feet before we get started. Tell us about YOORZ ID, and then we're going to get into it.
Okay, so basically in a nutshell, what I created with YOORZ ID is a system where the good people that have nothing to hide, and pretty much statistically, it's 80% of the population, whether you want to do business on LinkedIn, you want to go on a dating site, Facebook, Twitter, any of the social media sites anywhere, you really just want to know who you're really communicating with. Right now, with catfishers and the dirty johns and the different scammers, we really just don't know. And there's companies that really are not doing anything about it. And so what we've created is a 7-layer security system where you are self-verifying. You're saying, hey, look, I have nothing to hide. I'm going to do all these steps for myself to let you know I am who I say I am. In return, you can send that share to somebody that wants to connect with you, so they do the same. We just need to know who we're really communicating with online, and we've made it a very simple process, but a very secure process.
Yeah, I love it. Super simple and secure. It's a process with this 7-layer security so that people know who they're really speaking with. Once somebody goes in through the YOORZ ID application, the program, and they go through your 7-layer security system, they're who they say they are, right? How does that work?
Correct. So when you go to the site, basically you're going to get a pop-up saying, hey, look, I'm giving you permission to run my background check. And also, just so people know how we also differ from other companies, we do not store your data. That's a big deal with most companies, and people worry about breaches. We will never store your data, plus we will never sell your data. But with each step that you go through, from behavioral biometrics, physical biometrics, we have anti-spoofing, liveliness detection, document verification, and background checks. And with each and every step, if you don't pass one, you don't get to go to the next. It's like a vault. And the reason being, again, some people might get frustrated, but again, because we don't store it, you have to start over. But the process is quite simple, but it's information that truly only you would know about yourself. So that way, once you're done, you will get what our patent is. You will get a badge that is encrypted on blockchain that we have built to protect your identity badge. So again, helping to protect not only your identity in the digital space, but also, again, giving you credibility across the internet, just letting people know that you are who you say you are.
Yeah, I love it. And of course, you're using the blockchain for the encryption badge. You have a patent on this. This is very exciting. Let's talk about this because you've been working on this with your team for a long time to come out with sort of the optimal I guess, identification, self-identification platform. How long have you been working on this, and when did you insert the encryption badge that you have your patent on?
I actually have been working on this. It's been 14 years since my story of what happened to me. And since then, it's just been a lot of educating myself, learning, helping victims along the way. And just as technology has progressed and kind of knowing how some of these con artists work, I've looked for and have added layer upon layer upon layer upon things, because I know, unfortunately, these people are very smart, they're very cunning, but we've kind of added these steps so I know we can help protect people. And I'm constantly looking for something else that we can add. But within the last 2 years, I would say we finally built our own blockchain to then be able to protect the patent. I did finally receive the patent last year in May, right around my birthday. I was very, very excited about that, because it finally met all these years of what I'd been working on and what I thought I just want to protect people, that somebody else saw the value in that and that we really have something.
Yeah, I love it, Kelley. And of course, you've dedicated your life to highlighting online scams and exposing these con artists. You mentioned that something happened in your life that was something that made a light bulb go off in your head regarding, hey, we've got to protect people. So maybe you want to share a little bit about that story. People could Google it, of course, but why don't you share a little bit about that story, Kelley, and what really made you trigger to start this dedicated life to really highlighting online scams and protecting people?
Right. So unfortunately, years ago, I was on Match, and it was after my divorce. To be honest, I was very naive about the internet, what to do, really what to put out there. I met somebody, kind of started a relationship thinking it was going to go into, marriage, made a lot of financial decisions, and unfortunately found out, about a year later that he was married, never divorced, never separated, pretty much a serial con man. And as a result, I lost, pretty much everything I had, over 1.5 million, house, cars, credit. And then kind of, if anybody knows or saw the Dirty John or Tinder Swindler, once you out these people is kind of when the crazy takes over. And that's when 10 years of slandering and attacking me and literally trying to ruin my reputation happened. So I tried everywhere to get help, but back then there really wasn't a lot of solutions and there really wasn't help. So I sought out not only to create a technology, but also a cyber law. Right now I have it written, it's parked in codes. It's called S5530 to make it a Class D felony in all states. And now I'm just trying to find some help to get that from codes onto the floor for a vote to finally hold these catfishers accountable, scammers. But I really just decided after about the 15th or so victim contacted me about this same individual that did this to me, I just said, you know what, enough is enough. Like, this is wrong. And I come from a great family, police, military, and something just struck in me saying, you know what, somebody has to do something. I might not know enough right now, but I'm going to learn and I'm going to figure it out. And that's literally what I did. I taught myself everything. I reached out to people that I knew were smarter than me, that kind of were in the space. And I just had an idea and I asked, can this be done? And that's kind of what started my journey. And now it's really all about, I'm not a victim. It's not about being victimized. It happens to many people, but now it's about being on the offense and being able to protect people. And now we have a solution for social media to where people can finally have a tool, if they want to use it, that they can, to at least ensure that the people they're communicating with are who they say they are.
I love it. It's great. And of course, you took this situation, you turned it on its head. I mean, you've got a bill S5530, that you're introducing into legislation. You've got this YOORZ company, which is fantastic. And you've taken this situation that happened to you. And of course, a lot of people reached out to you after it happened and they said, Kelley, we got scammed too. And then your mind started thinking like a great entrepreneur about, how do I turn this from a negative to a positive? How do I turn this from a learning opportunity to something that I can, like you said, go on the offensive, which is what you're doing here with YOORZ ID. Where do people find YOORZ ID? Is it on the App Store? Has it been released? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so YOORZ ID, it's on both Apple and Google Play. I'm very active. You can find us on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, but the App Store really is for, as far as the download, that's really the safest right now. We are going to have on the web, you can obviously go to, yoursid.com. The self-verification, eventually we'll have that, but and we're working on creating a program to protect people from deep fakes, because that's where on the web is where that can happen. On the on the App Store, that is pretty much, you never want to say impossible, but it's less likely. So you want to go verify yourself through our app. But then we also have the website that you can go to. It's a very simple download and verification process. And I try to preface this with people. We're in such a quick society. They want everything fast and quick. So even though this might take a little bit more than a minute or two, maybe three, I've done it in 3. Remember, that minute can save you millions of dollars. It can save you your life. It can save you from all the bad things that happen on the internet. And taking a little extra time when you think about and when you understand the security layers, what we've done is remarkable. And I'm so proud of my team, but it is a very serious security background. That's how it was built, with security from the ground up. So even though, we're in this quick, microwave society, people just need to understand just that extra minute or so can really protect you. And I urge people to just understand that when they download the app.
Wow, YOORZ ID, it's such an offensive tool. And I like that part about it very much. And especially, Kelley, when the bad actors, the bad people out there that are causing all kinds of havoc and destruction and misery, they're thinking of new things all the time. I mean, if they would spend the time that they were thinking about all the bad things to do to people, thinking about something good that they could do for society, they'd be very successful. But these are people that are just full-on crooks, always thinking about how to outsmart and cheat and make people have problems. So I would imagine you and your team, and we want to talk about your team, you've got a big whiteboard, I would imagine, of things that you're thinking about and always trying to stay ahead of these bad guys, right?
Absolutely. And only, unfortunately, because I've had to go through it. And the con person that did this to me, got to give him credit. He's wicked smart. He's wicked smart on the internet. And most of these guys they know the tricks of the trade. And, so you got to give them that credit. But again, most companies and most other things, as I was looking at it, they try to make the bad guys be honest. And they're never going to be. And that's when I started refocusing and pivoted and said, well, wait a minute, 20% of the population we know are the bad guys. Unfortunately, we don't know where they are. They're mixed in with all the good guys. But I'm focusing, I still inherently believe the world is good. There's still more good people than bad. Again, this isn't about, horribleness and again, victimization. It's about how can we, the good people, kind of fight against this. And with our tool and understanding how these people work is why we created these different layers of security, the best of the best of the best security, to really make sure that even if somebody has stolen your identity, or maybe they think they know your identity, even if they've written it down, it's, pretty impenetrable for somebody to get everything right, which is why we've added so many layers. And it's just, that 1 extra, 2 extra, 3 extra steps. Really, most other companies are doing 2-factor authentication, as where we've added it to 7, because we've even found with 2, there's breaches everywhere, and mainly more in fintech. Again, that's where you see a lot of the space. But really, for social media, when you think about it, I mean, we got Facebook now, they want to have you pay, to do this verification, but I don't think they're going to have the level of security we do. I know they're charging a little bit more. I know they're more than likely going to store your data, which we don't. And same with, Twitter. They're still doing these verifications. Again, what level they're doing, I don't know. I highly doubt it's as rigorous, because it's very expensive what we do. And that's not these companies' spaces. They do just enough to get by, but you can still get through the through the holes. And that's what I found. That's why we've hacked multiple systems. I do it on purpose to see what their security level is. And unfortunately, even with dating sites, there's a lot that they just have very, very simple, but it's very easy to breach. And that's hence why it's taken a little bit longer for me to get this finished, but it's because I wanted to really make sure people are protected, and to make sure when I, put my head on the pillow at night, that I have thought of everything I can to make sure somebody's protected, or at least they have a tool to allow them to at least feel confident if they're going on a date, meeting somebody for business, et cetera.
Yeah, I love it. And of course, I can see YOORZ ID being an acquisition target for one of these big companies pretty soon. Let's talk about this, because you mentioned you believe people are good, and I do too, but sometimes the world is filled with darkness, and the way you fill up that darkness is you fill it up with light. So you have a candle, you light a candle, and then you light another candle, the next candle lights the next candle. All of a sudden that dark space becomes light. And that's sort of what you're doing with the encrypted badge on the blockchain. So when I get the badge, can I mention that I have a badge? Where do I get to use the badge? If I go on a dating site, how do I let people know that I'm firmly 7-layer security identified?
Right. So one, it'll be on your profile picture. It'll be embedded into your social media profile picture, or whatever picture you choose to use. This is also where, any partnerships with, certain sites, that will allow it. Otherwise, there's ways that you'll be able to post that. But also within the link, once you do get verified, you're going to be in our community dashboard. We're really in that dashboard. There's real estate. You can put whatever you want about you and share it. We're just going to kind of have a community of verified people. But you can also share the link that people, kind of something saying, hey, check this out. Look, here's my verification badge. I went through these layers of security, giving me credibility across the internet. Also protects my ID, because everything is going a digital footprint. Here, check it out. Do the same. And so you'll be able to share the link. It'll allow people to come back to the site, look at it, decide if they want to. But this is the part, we're developing our own dating app. Because I believe, until maybe somebody wants to take my phone call, but really there isn't any dating site that truly vets and verifies in the manner that we do. And so it's going to be called Dating Reel, REEL, and every member is going to be verified, both men and women. And we're also going to have, video introduction and some algorithms that actually, I think are going to be a game changer. But there isn't really any site out there. I don't care which site you go to, even the big boys, like the Match, the Bumbles. And, it's not their space, and they don't, again, they do the minimal, but I know customer acquisition is a big deal for them. Sometimes security isn't. They might feel that it's not a priority, but I do, only because I know what it's done to many women and men in this space. And I just think it's time we have it. We have security on everything else. Why not our person?
Yeah, I look at you, Kelley, as an immersive entrepreneur, someone that has immersed herself so into the space, so into the knowledge base, so into what's happening and staying abreast of all the newest information. And you mentioned your team. Let's talk about the team. How important is a great team to put something together like what you've put together at YOORZ?
Oh, it's everything. I've had some unfortunate bad experiences along the way, the entrepreneurs. I think I could write a book on what not to do as a CEO. But I am very blessed, and I am so grateful for the people that and friends that introduced me to my team. They are a security-based team. Adroits, Gokul Anand and his team, Gokul Kanan, and they, a team of white hat hackers, brilliant. This space, everything they do is built with security in mind in the end result, but all being security. So we built it from the ground up with security layers, but it's also important to have a team that understands your vision. None of them truly experienced what I did, but they have empathy enough to understand it's a bigger problem. It's a global problem. They understood not only my story, but my mission and my passion to help people. And they're amazing. incredible human beings and have taken this ride with me. And I'm so, so blessed. But they see the big picture on how this not only can help social media and, people, the virtual space, but also for businesses. There's, over 100 verticals that we've identified and have built for that our technology could benefit. Because in the end, we just want to protect people. Again, there's bad people, like you said, everywhere, but there's still more of us than them. And for the most part, we've just kind of acquiesced to, well, there's bad people. We got to deal with it. Somebody steals my identity. I got to deal with the credit companies. I got to deal with the bank. And no, we shouldn't have to do that anymore. It's like, enough is enough that these guys have gotten away with it. And my team truly understands that. And in every suggestion I've had, everything, they've taken it, either gone with it, added more to it, really have helped me to create this, this really immersive, like I keep saying, this amazing tool that is just going to protect people and give them a peace of mind. So it's very important, your team, and also that they have your long-term vision, with you and want to go with you and grow with you.
Wow, I love it. Your team is so powerful. You mentioned 100 verticals that your team and you have identified that your app can help with. That's incredible. Let's talk about the government just for a minute, but let's talk about it in a way as it relates to victim assistance and the way in which government sort of looks at what you're doing. You've got the bill, the S-5530, you're working on getting bipartisan support for that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The government into this? Do they want to make sure that, bad actors stay off the line, and if they do some bad things, that they get punished?
Well, I want to say yes, I believe so. There are a lot of government applications, again, for our technology, obviously in cybersecurity. But again, the cybersecurity has mainly been geared more towards certain B2B, and again, more in the fintech space and breaches. But hasn't really been anything yet for individual protection. I do believe, and I know that there's a lot of things online, and one that I'm also very passionate about is parents that are able to protect their children. The next version that we have it now, we just need to tweak it a little, but parents now with their children 15 and under will be able to say, okay, Billy and Susie, you can have free reign of the internet as long as mom and dad can see that the friends in your gaming rooms, your chat rooms, your social media sites are all age appropriate. Unfortunately, we know there's a lot of bad with the sex trafficking and human trafficking, which is horrific, and it's growing exponentially almost at the same rates financially as identity theft. But we now believe we have a way to also help parents or to help teachers, to help protect children on the internet. Again, having the mom communities, dad communities, make sure their friends are all verified. And if anybody tries to get in their little group and they're not verified, well, they can't get in, because all too often this is what we're seeing. So as far as the government sector, I do know they have there's a lot of government programs that assist with this because it is such an issue. Again, even, if you believe in voter ID, there's an application, background checks for guns. We have a little bit of a deeper dive, immigration. So there's a lot of applications that we can have, and I am hoping, and we are reaching out to some government entities to potentially look at, for some grants and to help and assist. That's kind of my goal. Again, we just want to help and offer it as a solution. Hopefully they'll want it, but if not, we're still going to just keep going and really hopefully help the everyday person that needs, help.
I love it, especially like you mentioned, the children. I mean, what a great idea that you have to keep the children safe with all the chat rooms and the gaming rooms that they're on, mm-hmm. and everything else that's going on out there. It's nice to have people that have a mission-driven and passionate approach to business as an entrepreneur. And for the entrepreneurs watching this show, there's a lot to learn here from Kelley, because you have to be passionate about what you do. You have to love it, and you have to want to provide something that your clients love and appreciate, and get up every morning knowing that you're doing good in the world, which Kelley and her team are doing very, very well at YOORZ. Before I let you go, I want to talk about entrepreneurship just a little bit. We have entrepreneurs watching the show that sometimes they're having a tough time. You already mentioned in the interview that, you had some tough times as well. We all do. We're entrepreneurs. That's part of the definition of entrepreneurship. And you learned and you scraped your knees and got back up and kept on pushing. For the younger entrepreneurs watching the show, or any entrepreneur that's having a tough time, Kelley, what type of advice can you give to them about how important it is to keep on pushing and get yourself back up and keep on rolling?
Well, one that has really kept me going, to be honest, it's truly my faith. I believe this is a mission. Many, many times I thought about quitting. My motto's always been never quit, but I've thought about it. And then I'll get that email from a victim that I helped. I'll get something in me. I can't let it go. And if you have a passion for something that you've done, whether, I don't care how many no's, how many people have said it's never going to work, if you have a believe it in your heart, God gives you the dream, doesn't give other people the dream. So nobody's going to understand your passion. But if you truly have it, you have to keep going. And I've learned the hard way. Sometimes no isn't bad. It's a no for right now. Could be saving you from a lot of problems, from the wrong partner, from the wrong deal. And believe me, I look back now and I am so thankful for those times that some of the bad things happened. It was for my good. And I've had to learn to be patient, and timing is everything. And actually now, when I had this idea years ago, the timing wouldn't have been right. The timing is right now. Because we are seeing, and we have seen, and I have seen, especially since the pandemic, the trajectory of just how much more crime has happened because people had nothing to do but get online. And it's just gone, rampant. And so the problem is getting worse. We're now seeing these stories like the Dirty John, the Tinder swindler. I know there's more coming out. And we're reading more online about some of these things happening as where before they were kind of squashed. So I think it's for a time as now. I just say, do not, never give up. And for me also, I think a lot of smart people could understand, what this company, the valuation could eventually be. It's never been about the money. Never. And I think that's where I differ from a lot of people. I didn't build this because I'm some big tech executive or from MIT. This is a passion because of a wrong that happened to me, and people will not understand unless it's happened to you. But I am driven about turning that around, righting that wrong, and truly to protect people and or hopefully change law. And if I did that, and if I didn't even make a dime, I'd be happy with myself at the end of my life. And so you have to be passionate about it, and you have to want it. And you you keep going. If you have that in your gut, you will get your yes. I applaud the no's right now, because I know that's just getting me closer to a yes to really, really have this take off. And the right person is going to see it and understand. And they're going to either want to partner or be a part of this great opportunity to truly protect people. And for all the good people to finally start taking back control of the internet away from the bad guys. They've had their reign. Enough is enough.
I love it. Go on the offense with YOORZ ID. I really, really like it. And celebrate the no's. I mean, that's fantastic, right? And you mentioned that that's one of the keys. And when you get a no, it's just getting you closer to the yes. And it's such a great attitude you have. I'm going to bring you back on the show. I know you have a lot on the drawing board that you're bringing out as well, but what a fantastic interview with a real leader in the space. Thank you so much for your mission to elevate and improve really the community, the online community that we're all part of in today's world. So Kelley, thanks so much for coming on the .com Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight series today.
And I thank you for giving me the opportunity to let the world know that we are here. It's definitely people like you that'll help get the message out there. So thank you so much.